Alright, so in this video, we're going to talk about the new loud exhaust ban in New York City. Let's check it out. What's going on, YouTube? FXDLSBROOKLYN is back in the building. And yeah, so I've had a lot of people reach out, mostly from out of state, about the recent news about how loud exhausts have been banned in New York State. So technically, the way I have this bike set up right now, once the new year hits, is apparently an illegal setup because I am running an exhaust that is louder than the stock exhaust that is on a 2006 FXDBI. So if you didn't get a chance to catch up on what the article says and what the law says, it's basically saying that any exhaust that's louder than the stock exhaust is now illegal. Any work that you do to an exhaust to make it louder is now illegal on a car and a motorcycle. And any motorcycle repair shop or motorcycle shop that supports any builds in terms of passing inspections with exhausts that are louder than the stock are going to be severely penalized. And similarly, fines for having a loud exhaust on a motorcycle in New York can be up to $1,000. So that's kind of what's going on. That's what was just signed, and I think that actually starts in 2022. I hope it does, because then if it starts earlier than that, then I'm technically riding an illegal bike right now due to this exhaust. But I figured in this video, just because so many people have messaged me, so many people have asked me my opinion or what is going on in the great state of New York right now with these laws, I figured I would just drop this video and try to cover it with my opinion and do my best to be as objective as possible with this and respectful as possible, and to try to keep my emotions in check here, because to be quite honest with you, when I did hear this news, I definitely got pretty emotional. It's really upsetting news to, I think, anyone that's a biker out here in New York City. So definitely feelings of frustration, sorrow. But I think I've thought about it enough to give you, again, a pretty objective opinion on the whole situation. So I'll tell you what I think, but above all, like, that is the situation. A lot of sources have covered it right now. Revzilla did an article, a really brief one that gives you everything you need to know. So like always, what I would ask is, please, if you're ever going to leave a comment, this is a video to leave a comment on, because I would just love to hear what you all think about this, to also help me better formulate my opinion on this particular issue. So, as always, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think, whether you are a rider in New York State or whether you're out of state. You know, what's your thoughts about this new ban on loud exhausts here in New York City? So first off, what I will say is I think the bill is coming from a good place. Like, I think the people that signed it or whatever, like, their intentions are good. I don't think anyone's trying to harm anyone with this bill, right? At the end of the day, everyone should be entitled to a good night's sleep. Everyone should be entitled to conditions where they could sleep and their families could sleep and go to work rested. I totally agree with that. Car guys are going to get upset at me for saying this, but I could totally understand the ban on loud exhaust for cars, right? You're in a car. If an incident does happen, if somebody does hit you because they're not paying attention, like a garbage truck, your chances of surviving that wreck are significantly higher than if you are on a motorcycle. Significantly higher than if you're on a motorcycle. But for a bike, it's kind of a different story, because especially out here in New York City in the year of 2021, where almost every time I look at someone driving, they are on their phones, our visibility is already so little, right? And I do things to try to increase my visibility. Like, I have my LED lighting, I wear white, I have a white jacket, I have a white helmet. Like, I'm aware of this, right? But even with those moves, even with wearing a neon Simpson helmet, our visibility as bikers is always so minimal, is always so low, and now we have to compete with people checking their Instagram, checking their TikTok, they're on their phones. You all know the deal. It's nothing new. We're already not very visible. So the one edge that we do have is if somebody is checking their phone and if somebody is not paying the full attention that they should be paying if they are driving, at least we have another way to be visible, and it's through sound, right? Because if I'm checking my phone at least I could hear and know that there is a motorcycle near me. Because I don't know about you all, but when I am driving, if I hear a motorcycle coming, that's important information to me that, hey, there is a vehicle approaching me on the road that is more vulnerable, and I should be more careful, and I should make sure that this rider has space, right? If you cut that away, if you take away a loud exhaust, you are now taking a crucial form of visibility away from riders. And it's not only that, but it's like, how many times has somebody not seen you and you've had to do a rev bomb, say something like that, to get them to see you, and then, hey, they see you and you've avoided whatever the potential calamity was going to be. So I know for myself, it's been many times, right? Like, listen, that's the horn. Like, that's a joke. If you're in heavy traffic, if you're doing high speeds, no one hears that. But people do hear an exhaust, and people do know what that sound means. That means there's a motorcycle, so I should be more careful. So now, you're talking about taking a crucial piece of visibility away from riders. And I used to joke all the time about the loud pipes save lives, brother. Now I kind of feel a little bit differently about it, because I actually do believe that, you know, as much as I've joked around about saying loud pipes save lives, brother. But I believe that. There's been a lot of instances where on my motorcycle, if I was not heard because I was not being seen, I would have wrecked. So for me, it really is kind of just coming from a place of safety and just having another tool at my disposal for when I am not being seen. Another tool at my disposal for visibility, right? That's where it's coming from me. So my frustration as a rider in New York right now is that in order for me to best protect myself and the people who I'm riding with, that's all of a sudden illegal. And that's all of a sudden punishable with a $1,000 fine. A $1,000 fine, okay? And I feel like us putting cars and motorcycles in the same bill is just kind of ridiculous, because they're two completely different realms. They're not even in the same ballpark, right? You cannot compare the level of risk that you have in a performance car as the level of risk that you're going to have on a motorcycle, right? We need all the visibility we could get, and part of that is being heard, right? And also, that being said, like, I'm trying to find a middle ground here, you know? My exhaust, my Fab 28, I haven't made any modifications to that exhaust to make it any louder. That's what that exhaust came from that factory sounding like, right? So I think that, like, might be one potential loophole about this, where it's like, hey, you know, we could pull the exhaust off and I'll show you. I haven't done anything to it. It's exactly how the factory sent it. But I think what they would probably get you on is just the fact where it's like, yeah, that's not what that bike sounds like stock. We all know what Harley Davidsons sound like stock. It ain't good and it ain't loud. So yeah, especially out here, like in the conditions that I'm in, there is so many things going on right now. There is so much happening. You really do need every single edge you could get if you're going to survive out here. So the thing that I feel just a little bit frustrated with is there being legislation signed to remove one of those edges that we have, right? Because again, I'm trying to find some middle ground. Like, look, if you want to slap some bikers on the wrist that are gutting out their pipes and, you know, blowing through straight pipes just for the sense of being loud and ripping through the street at 2 in the morning on work nights, fine, I get that. But if you're penalizing, you know, the everyday rider who ride motorcycles in situations like I'm in, because it is the best way to get around, especially with just the constant congestion of cars, who ride motorcycles as a passion, as a healthy outlet in their life, and at the end of the day just want to be able to come home to their families, you know, that's where I start to feel kind of frustrated with a law like that being passed. Yeah, it's just like here in New York, especially in the last riding season, we've had so many riders go down, experienced riders. And I wonder how many of those incidents happened due to visibility, due to not being seen. You know, so removing another potential visibility and another potential way to be seen and to be heard on the road in an already very dangerous place to ride. I just don't know, you know? And it's already hard enough. Like, we already have, as bikers out here in New York, the laws stacked against us. Like, I know that there was a similar statute passed in California 2 years ago, right? But look, at least in California, it's illegal to lane split, right? Whereas here, if I'm in a situation that I don't feel comfortable in and that I feel is a dangerous situation, whether it's I'm going to get rear-ended because people are bored in traffic and they're checking their phones, I'm not allowed to protect myself. I'm not allowed to maneuver to give myself an edge to survive, right? That's illegal. But at least in California, you can at least do that legally. So, I don't know. It's like, out here, the laws are not friendly towards bikers. There are not. And again, when I talk about lane splitting, I'm talking about doing it responsibly. I'm talking about not doing it at high speeds, doing it in responsible situations just to maneuver, just to get through. And I kind of feel bad for the new generation of riders who have been excited to get into this, because this is just another thing that I could see potentially deterring new riders, which is kind of a shame, you know, because that, especially for me, doing this stuff has been one of the most exciting things, is seeing the new riders come up in the new generation. But this I could see as being a deterrent, because it's like, okay, in order to even get on a bike, that in itself is already a challenge, right? I gotta take my MSS course, I gotta go to the DMV, I gotta get my permit, I gotta do 2 days at my MSS course, I gotta pay for my insurance, I gotta find and pay for my bike, I gotta get the bike registered, I gotta get the bike inspected, then I gotta go back to the DMV to get a Class M punched on my license. And now you're telling me that when I've finally gone through all that and I've walked through the 2 circles of hell known as the New York DMV, now I need to have my bike sound stock and kind of sound like a Toyota Camry off the gate. No offense to anyone rocking a Toyota Camry, but let's just say a stock exhaust on a Harley, you might as well be riding a Zero or an electric bike. You will not be heard. It's not, you know, for anyone who's watching this that's just not familiar with Harley Davidsons and riding culture and everything, all the Harleys you hear in movies, all the iconic, classic, iconic media that you see Harley Davidsons and motorcycles in, that's not what a stock Harley Davidson sounds like. So, yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know what to tell you. You know, I have one buddy who is NYPD, who I have a lot of respect for, and I asked him about it, and I was basically just saying, like, you know, what do you think is going to happen? Like, do you really think, you know, this is going to be the type of thing that they really crack down on, or is this going to be a different situation? And basically his response to me is that he could see this being a sticking point for some overzealous, potentially newer officers, another reason to stop you on your motorcycle. So he said he could actually potentially see it being a problem, but he actually also told me the issue would probably be more getting your bike inspected these days, because, you know, why would a shop want to risk getting shut down for doing jobs that they are now told is illegal, you know? So that kind of seemed like the more kind of sketchy thing about it. But look, that's how I feel. I mean, my bike is as loud as it needs to be. Like I said, I haven't done any additional work to the pipe or anything to make it more obnoxiously loud. You know, the bike has engine work and it's a 2-into-1 exhaust. Performance, you're gonna hear it. It's gonna be loud. You know, that's what the American legend is. And again, that's what has saved my life on multiple occasions. There have been multiple occasions where I could tell you I would not be coming home if someone did not hear this bike. So, again, I think the intentions of the people that signed the bill were good. I'm trying to be really respectful. I'm trying to find a counter argument, right? But I would also probably say that within the room of the people that signed the bill, you know, you like see a picture of a bill getting signed and then a bunch of people clapping. I kind of find it hard to believe that anyone in that room is a biker or knows someone who's gotten into a bike wreck or knows someone that's lost a life or lost a loved one in a bike wreck, because then I feel like maybe it would be a different situation. So at the end of the day, for me, for everyone that's asked me, I know a lot of people are just coming at this like, oh, it's another thing where they're telling me what to do and they're just taking another freedom away from me. But honestly, like, yes, I hear that, but for me, at the end of the day, like, it's a legitimate safety thing. And in a place and a city like this where your visibility is already so low and you're already competing with so much going on, including people's phones in their face, to me, it's just kind of scary to think about losing another potential edge that could potentially get you, back home safely. So that's where I'm coming at. I'm coming at it from a safety standpoint and a functionality standpoint, because in terms of the lesser of two evils, like, yes, could it potentially be annoying to have a loud bike ride past you or ride past your house? That could be annoying. If you don't like motorcycles and you don't like the sound of motorcycles, I get it, that could be annoying. But in terms of how many lives could potentially be saved from a loud bike, it's just kind of hard. It's kind of hard to justify that trade-off. But look, at the end of the day, like I said, I would love to hear what you all think about this. I've tried to be objective, and that's, again, the place that I'm coming from. I'm just coming from it, from the point where I want to be seen, I want to be heard, I want to have as much presence as I can when I'm on my motorcycle, and I want to be in a place where laws support me and my safety as a rider. And right now, honestly, when I see legislation like that, I don't feel supported. I don't feel like my safety is supported, unless maybe I'm missing it. Maybe there's an angle I'm not seeing here. Maybe there's something maybe I didn't read the fine print about this, which is why I'd love for you all to let me know what you all think in the comment section. Is there something I'm missing about this? Am I wrong about this? Do we all just need to go back to stock exhaust or stuffing wool socks in our exhaust or putting silencers on them? Am I missing something here? You all let me know. But again, that's it. For everyone that asked me, that's how I feel about it. I'm trying to keep that PMA. I'm trying to keep that positive mental attitude about it. We're trying not to be reactive, trying to see where this thing goes. There are all sorts of institutions out there that fight for the rights of bikers and fight for the rights of biker safety, such as Long Island Debate, etc. So, we'll see where it goes. But it's just kind of feels like a blow. Kind of feels like a blow to bikers who are already in a very challenging circumstance, which is riding in and out of New York City. It's like, it's already hard, man. It's already really hard, and I feel like that makes it just that much harder to not be heard. And I mean, the last thing I could possibly think of is like a possible loophole out of this, which I highly doubt this would ever happen. But the only thing I could think of the way that I read the bill being signed, the way that I read it, is the only possible thing I could think of is if Harley Davidson actually started producing their motorcycles with exhausts that performed and sounded like the aftermarket exhausts that we all run. Then that would be different, because then we'd be running the exhaust that was intended for the bike by the factory, which the law says is what we're apparently supposed to be doing now. So if Harley Davidson ever decided to step it up and get rid of what many people call the Harley tax, because what people generally do when they buy a new Harley Davidson, the first thing they do is they change the exhaust, because again, a stock Harley sounds ridiculous. But I'm not getting down on New York City. I'm not getting down on New York State. I love my city. I love my state. I'm a New Yorker through and through, whether it's good times or bad times, right? So again, I'm trying to find the positive angle here. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you all think about it, right? Because it's an interesting topic for me. as much of a sore subject as it is kind of nice to talk about it and kind of flesh my own ideas out. As always, stay safe out there. Stay safe out there. Stay low out there. Maintain a positive mental attitude, especially when things don't go your way. And on that, FXDLS Brooklyn is out.